Okay. 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 Tuesday? I think I'm wide open because I was gonna be flying. So I think I'm wide open.
Well, we'll touch base on Monday.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
I have a Tuesday meeting.
I think I'm gonna be. I think I'm gonna. Yeah. Well, the baby doesn't have to lead. The baby's not leading the service.
I know.
It's going to be a long couple of minutes. This is actually amazing. It's almost 7 o'clock and everyone's ready to go. Wow. Should we just get started? Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I am so grateful for all of you today, this evening on this Shabbos. This is the most crowded we have been in, I guess, 16 months since we moved all of our services online. We've been back, but Friday nights we haven't had the opportunity for this many folks to come in and celebrate the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, which is the Shabbat. And on this particular Shabbat, we are celebrating Sadia's bat mitzvah, which is a time in which she technically receives all the mitzvahs. But what's really important, I think, is that we celebrate the hard work that she has done over the course of the past several years and before, and that she, as a young Jewish adult, and certainly over the past couple of weeks we have seen the importance of this, is proud to be a Jewish young adult and is someone who is celebrating that Jewishness. And I am so grateful for the Left family for being here. So I want to wish you all a mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
And don't worry, you guys will get your energy up. It's been a long day, yes?
Yeah.
It's been a long week. Anyone have to drive in a lot of traffic to get here? Yeah, so you're most welcome here. Just take a moment, relax, sit, take a deep breath, hum along, sing along if you don't know the tunes, but sing along if you do, and we'll hopefully lift each other up. I'm excited. We have a lot of cookies back there too. So we'll be here, and this is my favorite, but we'll be here for about the next, 4 or 5 hours?
4.5.
4.5 hours? No. We'll go to about. We'll daven. We'll say a few prayers. Some of them will be led by our bat mitzvah Sadia, and then we will enjoy at least a little bit of oneg, a little bit of delight of the Sabbath. But we start off with Lichi Lach, which is really a prayer celebrating a journey. And we have all been on a journey, but now I think our focus ought to be the journey of Sadia as she moves and transitions to a different phase, not only of her Jewish education, but also of her Jewish life. Lechi Lach.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you. and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach. And I shall make your name great. Lech lecha. And all shall praise your name. Lechi lach. To the place that I will show you. Lesimchat chayim. Lesimchat chayim. Lesimchat chayim. Lechi lach. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach.
Wonderful. So why don't we turn now to page 16? I know there wasn't a page number on that, but that was a bracha, a blessing in which we bless the journey that we are embarking upon. And we turn to page 16 for Shalom Aleichem. But before we do Shalom Aleichem, please turn to your neighbor, turn behind you, turn in front of you, if you can do that, and wish each other a good Shabbos, a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
if you
Shalom.
don't know the person next to you, introduce yourself real quick. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. The traditional greeting in the Jewish tradition, of course, is Shalom Aleichem, and then you return the response with Aleichem Shalom, or we just wish each other Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Page 16, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bochem L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Seichem L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn now to page 38 for Lecha Dodi. We'll sing a few frames, and then when we get to the end, we will rise and turn to the door as we welcome in the Sabbath bride. It's a reminder that each and every one of us on this special day, on this Sabbath, we are a little elevated. We are like a bride and a groom on their wedding day, or a king and a queen, or a queen at court, that we are a little more elevated today on this holy Sabbath. Lecha Dodi can be found on page 38.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nekabela, shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad. Ishmi'anu el ha'meuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi makor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'makshvatila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari, ki va'orek u'miori, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alai nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
We rise and turn to the door.
Bo'i v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'sochala, toch emunei am segula, bo'i chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
While we are standing, we turn now to page 50 for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship.
Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai.
Please be seated. We turn to the middle of page 50 with the Ma'ariv Aravim, the Lord of night and day. And it starts off with a beautiful few words that says, "Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, whose words bring on the dusk of evening." That each and every word that we say creates an environment. Just like God made a statement, if you recall from the book of Genesis, Bereshit, that when God spoke, the world came into being. It literally said that Vayomer Adonai, that God spoke and these things happened. But each and every one of us can relate to that in our daily lives, in which we speak so often and we create worlds by our speech. That's why it's so important that we greet people. A simple Shabbat Shalom or a simple Hallel can change the way the world is. Do you not agree? So why is it that at times we don't greet people and utter beautiful words of praise and thoughtfulness. If we were to do that, we all agree that the world would be better, would be more pleasant. Isn't that right? And yet at times we speak ill. It is so important as we enter into this Sabbath that we focus and imagine if you only spoke positive, if you only spoke words of beauty for just 24 hours, do you believe the world would be different? You know it would, and yet at times we can't even make it 10 minutes. I ask each and every one of us over the course of the next 24 hours that we focus and commit to concentrate on the words that we express to each other, not just those that we meet on the street. It's easy to be nice to them, isn't it? It's more difficult to be nice and kind and loving to those that we are with on a regular basis or that live in the same home. Let us spend this 24 hours truly thinking about how our words can create. We continue with Ma'ariv Aravim on page 50.
El Chai B'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim Amen.
With everlasting love you have loved the house of Israel, teaching us your Torah, its mitzvot, laws, and judgments. Ahavat Olam, page 52.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amchavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'ekumeinu nasiach belkecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם ולילה כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם ולילה כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם ולילה כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים Baruch Atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Amen.
As we turn to page 54, we invite our bat mitzvah. Did I startle you? I'm sorry. Welcome to lead us in the central prayer of the Jewish faith, the Shema. Again, can be found on page 54.
Do I have to start?
You just start, yeah.
Shema Yisrael
Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אלוהיך בכל לבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך
והיו הגורים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקמך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Please continue silently on page 56. And we join together on 58.
Aman tizkeru v'asitam et kol mitzvotai v'hiyatam kedoshim v'lachem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hosietam me'eretz Mitzrayim l'chiyot lechem v'lahim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen.
Amen. Page 60. Let's give her a mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
There we go. It's not easy coming up for one's first time, and it is important that the community supports each and every one of us, because each and every one of us needs the support and needs to know that our community is here. And that's a big part. That's a big part of why the bar mitzvah or the bat mitzvah is so important at this age. Too often we have people at this age where they go out into the world and they don't have support. And they don't have people that are here. And a lot of times we forget that we here have a community that is giving. I know we can't necessarily give a lot of hugs, but you want to give each and everyone a hug. And here, this is our way in which we give the family a hug. And we tell them that we are here, we are a part of your lives, and we will be moving forward. And there's no better way to do that than with a what is that called again?
I don't know, what are you talking about?
The thing that's rattling it.
Oh, this thing that's
A
making...
tambourine, my gosh. I couldn't think of it, but the tambourine, if you look at the bottom of page 60, is that, and I just love this, what truly makes a community? What truly makes a community is that we are about to sing a song that was... I'm sorry. You can't tell where my eyes are with the mask, can you? I know. But on page 60, there is a great song that we're going to sing. And if you remember that this song was sung at the sea after the sea split. After the sea split. And I just love this midrash, because the idea here is that when the Jewish people left Egypt, how did they have to leave? They left quickly, did they not? They had to leave, and we all know the story that they left, and they left so hurriedly that they didn't even have time for what to rise? The bread. So they had to take with them this matzah. They were quick. And if I ask you, what is it that if you were given 5 minutes to pack your bags, what would you bring? He's stealing my thunder. But what would you bring? What would you bring? Not matzah. You would have to grab, some people would grab pictures, other people would grab valuables. What would you grab?
My family would have hid the tambourine from
His
me.
family would have hid the tambourine. But what Miriam did, interestingly enough, what Miriam did was she brought music. She brought a timbrel, she brought drums, she brought a tambourine, and she brought music. Not because she was going to play in the desert, not because she was going to play when they were crossing the sea, but because she knew at some point there would be a time again in which we would play music. There would be a time in the future in which we would come together again. Even though it was dark and even though it was a very trying time for the Jewish people, there will be a time in which we come together again and we will play music again. And that is precisely what we are doing here tonight. That it was a dark 14, 15, 16 months for many of us in this community where we were unable to be together. But we all knew, did we not? We all were aware, weren't we, that we would come together and sing again. And what better way to do that than with this family? And that's what is community. So we will hear this beautiful song. Maybe I hyped it up a little too much. I hope it's good. Take it away, Kenner. Page 60, Mi Chamocha.
So I'm going to ask everybody to rise. We usually don't rise for this, but you can't sing and clap, underline clap. And if you can't stay on the same beat I'm on, that's too bad, because it's my beat and that's the way it is. So, yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai
Adonai Michamocha Nerda B'Kodesh Nora Tehilot Osei Fele Nora Tehilot Osei Fele Malchutecha Ra'uvanecha Boker Yom Lifnei Moshe Zeili Anu Ve'amru Zeili Anu Ve'amru Adonai Imloch Le'olam Va'ed Adonai Imloch Le'olam Va'ed Michamocha Hailim Adonai Michamocha Nerdar B'Kodesh Nora Tehilot Osei Fele Nora Tehilot Osei Fele Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. Please be seated. We turn now to page 62 for Hashkivenu. Help us, O God, to lie down in peace and awaken us to life on the morrow.
Ufros aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot, Shlomecha, Yai lai lai lai, Yai lai lai lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai lai lai, Yai lai lai lai, Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei Sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei Sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
We rise again on page 64 for Vishamru.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'doratam berit olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'doratam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash,
Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם. יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה. אמן.
ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך. לעולם לעולמי יתברך. יתברך וישתבח. ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה במהרו אמן.
We remain standing on page 68 for the Mariv Amida for the Sabbath. The prayers continue through page 76. And when you have completed your prayers and the silent portion, you may be seated.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory.
Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Page 86.
Yikara v'yikara shemei rabah ve'almadi rach kivrasei ve'amlik malchutei v'chayachon v'yomachon v'chayedechol beit Yisrael b'agalav v'zman kariv ve'imeru.
Amen.
Yahei shmei rabah mevorach le'olam le'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudesha v'rechu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru.
Amen.
Tikabal sloton v'otahon d'chal Yisrael kadama v'hon devi shemayo ve'imeru. Yahei shlama rabba min shemayo v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Osei shalom bimromav Yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
So we turn now to page 90 for the Kiddush. And before we do the Kiddush, I know that Oren and Sadia will come up and do the Kiddush. You knew that. But wait. I want to say some nice stuff real quick, okay? To you guys, not... Okay. So what was really beautiful is that I believe that the word Kiddush literally means connection. Yes, it means holiness, but it really means connection. It really means connecting two things together. That's what the Kaddish is. But in the Kiddush, in the case of the Kiddush, it really is about connecting what we're doing today to your lives, but also connecting the Holy Sabbath with your normal work week, but also connecting your family to your community. And when I first met you, and I remember this, and I remember it was a bright sunny day, just like today, like they all are out here, aren't they? And those visiting from Texas, it's nice to probably get away from the rain. I know I was hoping that you guys would bring some of the rain, but you did not. In any event, it was a beautiful day. It was a sunny day. And we really closed this place down. You connected with me. Your entire family connected with me. It was a really nice moment. And we moved from this yard into the parking lot. And then we moved. Do you remember this? And this was hours after the services. Now, Gloria was ready to go, and I'm sure that the girls were ready to go after a long day because you had a long ride home. But because of that initial connection, that starts a relationship. That starts a beautiful relationship moving forward. Your family has been a huge part of this community. We are so grateful for it. We are sad to see you go, but we do know this. We do know that any community that you enter into, you will have that same connection because you make that a priority. May you continue as a family to make connection a priority. May you continue as a family to really, really hold true that ideal of bringing holiness or Kiddush to everything that you do by making those connections. And because of just a simple moment, a budding and beautiful relationship begins. So I want to invite you up. It is really perfect that you should lead us in Kiddush right now. We turn to page 90. We rise as Oren and Sadia lead us in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava u'ratzon hinhilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila, למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנהלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen.
L'chaim.
See, wasn't that easier without the
And there'll be wine for everybody too,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
and grape juice for
There
you.
will be an oneg, but we have a few other things we got to do. Please be seated. We now would like to invite those who are offering a prayer for those who are in need of healing spiritually, mentally, or physically. Please rise at your seats for those who are offering names. Please help us start with you.
Michael Jesser, Joe Fox. Marilyn Aronson, Mark Wareham.
Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Makor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
May God send a speedy recovery for those in need, a healing of body, refuah shlema, refuah to nefesh, refuah to gufa, complete and full healing of mind and body. And we all say, Amen. Yishkoach to you, Cantor. Mazel tov to the family. Welcome everyone, out-of-town guests, people who are visiting. Welcome to family and friends on this great occasion, this beautiful occasion. And a yashikoach to the family. May they go from wonderful event to wonderful event and only revealed good in the years to come for each and every one of you. This week's Torah portion starts off in an interesting way regarding the kindling of the menorah lights. And then it moves on to an episode that many of us are familiar with, where the Israelites begin to complain. They begin to kvetch. They begin to have problems. I guess many of us can relate, those who are giggling. The Vayehi ha'am kamit onanim raba oznei Hashem literally means that the people took to complaining bitterly. They had a problem. They didn't like it. They had a complaint. They were upset. They were hurt. Rashi, who is the great commentator, at least in our tradition, made a wonderful, wonderful observation that this word mitonanim, literally means it's a pretext. What does that mean? That these people sought a pretext. They sought a reason about how to separate themselves from others and from God. This is a very, very popular thing for people to do. Do we not, when we start to complain, come up with an argument, a reason why, justification? I come up with a million good reasons why I should complain, or why I have a good reason for not behaving in a great way. Do you know anyone that acts like this? Let's look specifically at some of the complaints that occurred over the course of this time in the desert. Maybe you recall that the Israelites, they felt a gluttonous craving. I just love that translation. I don't know any other craving that there is, but generally they are gluttonous. So this was a gluttonous craving. And then what did they say? If only we had meat to eat. Remember that they had the they had the manna, they had spiritual food. They had everything that they could possibly want, but what do they want? Are we only having spaghetti, Mom, tonight? I would like spaghetti and meatballs. I really appreciate all the hard work you did, but if you could just do a little bit more. So God says, what? Don't worry, I'll give you meat. But what does Moses do? Moses complains. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do it? You've been doing all this stuff. You're just going to make it miraculously appear? It's just going to happen? Who's going to put all the food on the table? Anyone make that complaint? Who's going to do it? If I don't do it, it never gets done. Then there's an episode where a youth complains about a couple of people who are prophets. There's an episode where there are two people that are getting a little bit of attention. People start complaining when other people get attention. You ever seen that happen? People complaining because other people are getting a little too much attention, and then I would like to have some of that attention, please. Miriam and Aaron, we're going to hear a little bit about this tomorrow from Sadia. She wrote a beautiful, beautiful drasha, a beautiful talk tomorrow, and I'm really excited to hear it. Miriam and Aaron complain about their position. We're good too. Moses is great, but I'm just as good as him. How come he gets to stay out later than we do on the weekend, Mom? And they complain about Moses' choice in a bride. Anyone ever do that? But we do smart things like, oh, just keep it to yourself, don't tell them. Aren't we so sophisticated that we just do it behind people's backs? Problems with food, problems with power, problems with how others are behaving, suffering and pain. It's one thing when those people, when they suffered in Egypt, when you suffer your slavery. We all have a hard time accepting when others are suffering their freedom. It's one thing when you have to suffer your slavery. It's another thing when we suffer all the wonderful and free, beautiful gifts that each and every one of us have. Have many of us truly suffered over the past year, 2 years? Really? Really? Have you suffered? Are we suffering our own freedom? If you seek problems, do they not only become everything that you see? That which you focus on truly increases. Who doesn't complain today, honestly? It is built really into our lives from the start. From birth, what do we got? Problems with feeding, diaper problems, yeah? Everyone have those? Sleeping as a parent. As parents, you're told really early on, aren't you? You're not going to get a lot of sleep. How many people told you that? Immediately telling you that you're going to have some problems. How many of you were told that you're going to suffer, and we even call it the terrible twos? Isn't that right? The word even toddler literally means you're going to have problems because they can't even stand up right. Adolescents, you've got puberty problems. If you don't have money, the poor are suffering, are they not? If you have too much money, what are you suffering? Right, Canner? Canner's also an accountant. You're suffering your taxes. If you've got too much of it, you worry about that. You complain about that. We even call it a middle-age crisis. A crisis. A middle-age crisis. And I even heard it, a quarter-life crisis. You heard this one? Oy vavoy. Single people suffered, right? And if you're married, I love you. I love you. I'll be suffering later. Okay. Old age, we all know we have problems, right? Tell me, when is there not going to be suffering? When is it not going to be a problem? Some will say that's just the life. That's just the way life is. And you'll be rewarded in the next world. Don't worry, it'll all be okay later. It's not good enough, is it? Rashi points out that this is entirely up to us. Your happiness, your joy is 100% up to you. 100%. We have simply not turned us inside and figured out how to handle what's going on inside. Statements like, if I get this job, all will be all right. Or if I marry the right person, it'll be wonderful. Or if I just have my health, all will be fine. We hear this one all the time, don't we? All I need is my health. I've said it. If you've got your health, you've got everything, right? You've heard this, haven't you? But have you not met somebody who has more money than they can possibly imagine and they're unhappy? Do you know someone who married the perfect person and they're still miserable? And have you not met someone who has survived a real health scare? A real health scare, and they're still just as miserable as they've always been. Where is the problem? Where does that suffering live? This all starts, as Rashi points out, when we separate ourselves from the other. Maybe some of you have already done it tonight. That's not really me. That's not like me. I do that sometimes. We separate ourselves from the person sitting next to us, our children, our loved ones, and the people in this room. This is exactly what Rashi means by when he says you seek a pretext. How many of you have already had a pretext here tonight? You came in with an idea or a thought. Do we not compare to other people? How many of you have compared somebody or something already tonight? We start early in school. We start with comparing. We separate for classes. There's the upper class and the lower class. We do that for students, don't we? We already separate that early on. We have wars which separate us. That's the best kind, because I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm justified. We have ranks. We have competitions. We have debates, all to see who is better, all to separate. Isn't your complaining, suffering, and your misery entirely your own choice? Your inner arguments are completely up to you. The term the Torah uses for complaining, or better, to suffer, is this mit onanin, a word that is a reflex. It means to point inwards, that when we truly start complaining, you have to turn inward to complain. It is never something done outward. It is always done inside. Our complaining, our problems, our sufferings come completely from within. They are ours. Certainly they separate us from others and ourselves, but what's more is they limit our ability to see possibility. When I am separate from you, I cannot see possibility. When I only see problem, it is impossible to see possibility. The Israelites could not see that all their needs, including meat, were cared for. Moses couldn't see that God was doing for him what he couldn't do for himself. Miriam and Aaron could not see that they had their own power. They're all powerful, but in comparison to somebody else, I'm less powerful. And they were unable to see the humanity in Moses' relationship choice. The humanity in another human being. When will we move away from suffering and problems? I'll tell you when. When we turn inwards, when we stop separating, and we accept the miracle and the beauty that is in this vast and wonderful life in the world in which we live today. This is the wisdom of our sages that states, who? Do you want to know how and who becomes a complete and fulfilled person? You want to know? It's no big secret. You already know it. This isn't a teaching. This isn't anything that you already don't know. It is the person that rejoices in their lot. the person that rejoices in what you already have. Are you happy truly with what you have? You want to be a complete and fulfilled person. Are you happy with what you have? Does it bring you joy? As they say in the Psalms, you shall enjoy the fruit of your labors. Get to work, get out there and try something, and you will be happy and you will prosper. Shabbat Shalom. We now continue our service, or we conclude our service with Aleinu on page 118. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. Va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim ve'osed haaretz umoshe v'yikaro b'shamayim imhal ushchinatu zo Begav he meromim hu Eloheinu einod emet malkeinu efezulato kakatuv betorato ve'yadata hayom bahashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim Bashamayim imhal ve'al haaretz mitachat einod okay.
Page 120. For sovereignty is yours unto all eternity. You will reign in glory. As it is written in your Torah, the Lord shall reign forever and ever. And it has been foretold, the Lord shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day, the Lord shall be one and shall be acclaimed as one.
Kakatuv b'toratecha, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
We ask those who are mourning or observing Yortzeit remain standing, and may the memories which we cherish and lovingly now recall inspire us so to live that we too may bequeath the heritage of precious memories to those whom we shall leave behind. In tribute to our departed, may we enrich the lives we touch, and may we share and preserve the faith which our mourners will now affirm as they rise to sanctify God's name in the hallowed words of the Kaddish. In this week's Yahrzeits, Albert Blitz, father of Maury Blitz, Arlene Ducker, sister-in-law of Jay Bloom, Al Garbus, brother of Jerry Garbus, Samuel Gold, father of Arlene Gold, John Hall, father of Jennifer Krause, Rose Levy, mother of Sharon Charo, Lillian Rosenblum, mother of Marlene Strauss, Winifred Schwartzbach, mother of Spencer Schwartzbach, Max Wallach, father of Shirley Cohn. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 124. Yitgadal v'yikadash Shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala v'zman kariv imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabam vorach le'olam u'me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom ben romav, huya aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May God, who makes harmony and peace in the universe, grant harmony and peace to us, to all Israel and all humankind, and let us all say, Amen. Well, I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom. I want to take this moment and invite our president up, Roger Reiner, he wears many hats, but in this capacity, he will make announcements as our president of Congregation Beth Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Yishakov, you and the cantor, and to Seria, and the rest of the left beautiful family and Mishpacha that's all here that we've got to meet and hang out with for the last few hours. So this is actually standing in front of a lot of people I actually know here now, and not just a few. So this is awesome. Other than that, we're looking forward to tomorrow because we need you all back here, 9:30 sharp for her bat mitzvah, and we're looking forward to that. And then on Thursday, we have our minions are opened up again, right? Thursday minion at 7:30 a.m. Please come and join the rabbi. On this Sunday, we have a virtual escape room at 7 o'clock. It should be a lot of fun. And next June 14th to the 16th, dining for dollars at CPK. And then Sunday, for those that fish, the men's club is having their annual fishing trip coming up. And Rabbi, you talked about the terrible twos, but having six, there's the god-awful threes and the worst ever fours. So by experience, I could tell you about all that. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. And thank you. So I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We conclude with
Adon Olam.
Adon Olam, which can be found on page 128. And then afterwards, we invite you to please join us in the back for Oneg. There's a very important part of Shabbat. The Oneg is called the delight, is that we should enjoy not only each other's company, but some good food. I know many of you have had food already. It was really good. Yes? Yes. Ah, good, good. But that we should just partake in a little bit of Oneg, a little bit of delight, that this is a time in which we elevate the time, and we can do it awesomely through food. So we continue with Adon Olam and conclude on page 128.
Adon Olam Asher Malah B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'en Nasa B'hefza Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu yeh b'tifara Ve'hu echad Ve'ein sheni L'hamshilo l'hachbira B'li reshit B'li tachlit Ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamizra Ve'hu eli Ve'chai go'ali V'tzorchev li Be'etzara Ve'hu nisi umanos li Menat kosi beyom ekra Be'ado akid ruchi Be'eti shan ve'aira Be'im ruchi gaviati Adonai li ve'lo ira. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Cantor. Shkoach.